New evidence shows that Sam Bankman-Fried borrowed over $500,000 from Alameda Research and buying a 56 million Robinhood shares. Before we dive the video, subscribe the Bitcoin Thinking channel and turning on the right notifications button. Starts the video topics.
Look, you have experienced federal prosecutors, federal judge, all weighing in on this. You don't see any real complaints from what I would say is the experienced community. There was obviously a determination that he's not a flight risk, and I think that this part of the story will fade away. You want an expeditious extradition. You want to get to the bottom of this. Obviously, the American people are all watching this. If you're a prosecutor, if you're involved in the justice system, you want to move quickly to assure people that when something like this happens, you can act. All of those things weigh in the balance of these types of decisions. So right. as far as where do we stand from a prosecutorial point of view, they have their person. They have what you refer to the transcript. If you look at the SEC complaint, the CFTC complaint, you can see what I would say is a detailed factual predicate laid out as to what the charges are here. So if I'm in that position today, I feel pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want whether it's 100 million, 250 million, 50 million. The question is how much money, how many assets are at risk for the people who have posted? So how incented are they to make sure that the defendant shows up? That's the simple.
Here's the next piece.
According to the CNBC television, the former SS chair Jay Clooney joined the CNBC Squawk Box to weigh in on the case against the FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried following a release on $250 million bail bond. According to the YouTube channel's Jay Martin Show, Frank also discusses how sound money outside of the government control, such as gold and Bitcoin, are going to become more important than ever as government tightens their control over the financial system.
Realize how much money he gave to both parties, but predominantly the Democrat Party. And his mother and father are professors, legal and law at Stanford, and they're very big in raising money for the Democrat Party. So if most of the Beltway agencies are Democrat, and he gave all this money, I think $5 million to the White House. He was the biggest funder going into this midterm elections. So people are going to give him that. I think that's what's going to happen. And the person that turns on him was the guy that gave money to the Republicans. But they only gave it to Republicans that were pro the crypto space. So it's political. The both parties, I don't know how it's going to resolve itself. And you just hope there's going to be justice that will prevail. And I that's all I hope, because he's a real psychopath. This is a psychopath, and I was told by my lawyers are telling me that it creates value for old guys like me. If
on the YouTube channel's Blockworks Macro, this week Mark and Mike discusses the continued FTX fallout as Sam Bankman-Fried was taken into custody in the Bahamas on Monday.
And Sam, and it caused another wave of unwinding of leverage, and now we got these two other risk factors that are Binance and Tether. So let's do the Binance math. I mean, Binance is big. I mean, they just had $10 billion of outflows.
Is it that much?
A little rise. Pardon?
Was it 10 billion in outflows?
Yeah, 10 billion in 3 days. Yeah, 2, 3, and 5. I mean, they had 5 in one day. So huge. But they handled it well, as you said. And the question is,
6 billion took FTX down. Just going to say, and they handled it no problem. So I have no inside info, but just want to, credit where credit is due.
No, exactly. And so, and part of it is, this is really big, right? It's 80% of global market share, by last count. So it's big. The other thing is it's distributed, right? It's not one, there's Binance in this country and Binance in this country, and they're actually different code bases. And so it's actually a pretty interesting network that he's built, global network. It's pretty amazing. I mean, the guy's actually executed as well as anybody. So, but the issue is, if that run on the bank continues, that will put downward pressure unless people just take it back and put it on a ledger, which would make me happy as owner of Ledger, which now has gone from 15% of all the crypto in the world to 20. So let that sink in for a second. 1 out of every 5 crypto is on a ledger. That's
I'm a
pretty
huge
awesome.
Ledger fan. Have you?
Yeah.
Oh,
According to the YouTube channel The Newsmax, Wolf of Wall Street, the Michael Jordan Belfort reacts to the latest news on the FTX scandals involving Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison and more in the Newsmax. Eric bowling the balance.
Yeah, this guy's done. I mean, it's playing out exactly how I thought it would play out, which is, they're cooperating. She, the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend, God, I think it was polyamorous, though, right? They were all kind of each other, so to speak, right? But they have cop pleas, which means they're giving a roadmap to the U.S. attorney right now, the FBI. This guy has got no shot. He has no defense. He's going to plead guilty at some point and cop a plea. He's not going to go to trial. There's no way he's going to go to trial, and he's going to get sentenced. My guess is somewhere north of 50 years in jail, maybe even more. Really, like, sort of open and shut case, like Bernie Madoff. They were just stealing people's money, right? And there's no defense for this. So he basically had a secret back door. So people were depositing money into FTX, right? Thinking they were putting their money into a brokerage firm, and the money was being segregated into each person's account. And he had a back door and taking the money out into Alameda, which was his trading arm. And as you said before, the commercial break, they're like the worst traders on the planet. They're losing billions of dollars, and it's being propped up. The bet's being propped up by customer funds. And you're wondering, how do you lose a couple of $1 billion? It's actually really easy because they're trading with leverage. And that's the disasters.
Yeah.
They're leveraging out their money, and it's very easy to lose massive sums of money. And she's obviously, with her, amphetamine, love of amphetamines, it sort of exacerbates the problem even more so.
FTX founder and the former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried borrowed over $546 million from his trading house Alameda Research to purchase a 7.6% stakes in Robinhood earlier this year. According to an affidavit filed on the High Court of Justice Antigua and Barbuda on December 12 before the arrest of Sam Bankman-Fried. The former billionaires teamed up with FTX co-founder Zhao Wang to the borrowed funds. They were used to support Emergent Fidelity Technologies and FTX affiliate to purchase the $56 million holds in May. Those shares were later used by the Bankman-Fried as collateral for loans taken by the Alameda from BlockFi, one of the entities that are laying claims to the shares. An affidavit by Bankman-Fried files in Antigua and Barbuda High Court on December 12, the day of his arrest, and made public on December 27, revealed that he and FTX co-founder Zhao Wang took out the loans from Alameda through 4 promissory notes between April and May. On April 13th, loans of around $316.6 million and $35.1 million were given to the Bankman-Fried and Wang. On May 15, 2 loans of around $175 million and the $19.4 million were given to the Bankman-Fried. The loans were used to fund Bankman-Fried's Antiguan-based shell company, Emergent Fidelity Technologies, which acquired a 7.6 stakes in a brokerage firm Robinhood in May at a price of $648 million. He added that if the sum paid by the Emergence for the shares was more than the stats $546 million, he is not a sick doubts as such additional sums are borrowed by the Gary and I to fund the acquisitions of the Robinhood shares. It's not clear from the court filing whether the $546 million used to purchase the stakes included funds the prosecutors alleged were stolen from customer depositors in FTX. BlockFi, prominent crypto lending, halted withdrawals as FTX came unrevealed, citing significant exposures to the trading platform. It filed for bankruptcy on November 28, just over 2 weeks after FTX, Alameda, and dozens of the affiliates went under. BlockFi is using Bankman-Fried for the Robinhood shares, which BlockFi claims it is out for the Alameda defaulted on $680 million in collateralizations loan obligations. Earlier this month, Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev told the CNBC that is not a surprise. His stake is one of the more valuable assets on FTX books because it's a public company stake. We don't have a lot of the information that you guys don't have. We are just watching this unfold, and it's going to be locked up in a bankruptcy proceeding most likely for some time. Meanwhile, the recent implosions of the cryptocurrencies has been a disastrous for the Robinhood. The company laid off 23% of its staff in August after cutting 9% of its employees in April. The online broker stocks has been free fall as trading has dried up. Ex-FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried and ex-FTX CTO Gary Wang took out loans from Alameda Research to buy stocks in the publicly trading exchange Robinhood, according to documents released on Tuesday by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. Ownership of the Robinhood share is being contested in federal court by crypto lending platform BlockFi, who say Bankman-Fried shares were promised to them. In the affidavit, Bankman-Fried says he and Wang formed a new company emergent to the acquired shares in the Robinhood Markets Inc., better known as Robinhood, totaling $546.4 million. I borrowed the sum of the $491,563,563.39 and Gary borrowed the sum of the $54,638,173.71 from the Alameda Research. Bankman-Fried shared in the filing of the sums evidenced by the promissory notes where capitalizations into emergent was working capital, so it's could be purchased the shares in the Robinhood. In the affidavit, Bankman-Fried says the loans were not all taken at the same time but were paid out in tranches over days before and after the dates listed in the file. This would affect calculations of the total value of shares occurs, he explained that. Bankman-Fried facing 8 charges of the wire and bank fraud, conspiracy and money laundering stemming from the collapse of the FTX and the Alameda Research. Regulators accuse Bankman-Fried of the funneling customers' funds from FTX to the Alameda Research to the cover traders. Complicating matters in the case is a claim for crypto lenders BlockFi that Bankman-Fried pledged his shares to the Robinhood to them. In November 2022, the Financial Times reported that the newly bankrupted BlockFi sued Bankman-Fried to obtain shares of the Robinhood he allegedly pledged to the company at collateral earlier that month. Bankman-Fried first bought his 7.6% stake into Robinhood in May 2022, according to a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. BlockFi alleged Bankman-Fried promised his stocks in Robinhood as collateral to help BlockFi through its liquidity issues. In its lawsuit, according to the Financial Times, BlockFi says the Bankman-Fried emergent defaulted on its obligations under the pledge agreement and failed to satisfy its obligation. FTX filed for bankruptcy on November 11, 2022 after rival cryptocurrency exchange Binance announced that it would be liquidates its position on the FTT, FTX and the native token. That's it for today. If you haven't already, subscribe the Bitcoin Thinking channel and turning on the red notifications button. So see you next time.